about to listen to the Dr. Daliah Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Daliah Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Daliah.
All right, guys, we are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. 1-877-Dr. 1-877-DOC-DALI. Well, we have a lot to get to today, but I want to open with this. You know, when I was in training, we had so many people who had injuries from falling off a ladder. Falling off a ladder was so common. And sadly, even today, we still have thousands of injuries that occur. It's going down thanks to the great work of the nonprofit American Ladder Institute. And so I am really excited for our next guest, Mike Van Bree, Director of Product Safety and Engineering at Louisville Ladder, talking to us about ladder safety. Mike, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for joining us.
Dr. Daliah, thank you so much for this opportunity to talk about ladder safety. It sounds like you have some unfortunate personal experience in that as well.
Wow. Well, you being president of this nonprofit American Ladder Institute, oh my gosh, I can't commend you on all the great work you're doing. Talk to us about why ladder safety is so important.
Well, like you said, there's thousands of injuries, serious injuries, and even fatalities that are occurring every year, and we've been making a difference, and we want to continue to do that. So the good news is that virtually all of these accidents are preventable with proper training and awareness by the climbers, and that's why National Ladder Safety Month exists. We want to help people learn the right way to use their ladders, whether that's at home or on the job. I think people very commonly think it's just a ladder. I know what I'm doing. I don't need anybody to tell me what to do. I just put one foot in front of the other, and that's a unfortunate thought process because there are steps that need to be taken. Some might say fairly straightforward or open and obvious points, but we want to highlight those, and our efforts over the last 9 years of doing this seem to be making a difference. We're seeing a decline by over 20% in the last 5 years in particular, and we want to continue that trend.
Talk to us about those tips.
Sure. These are all things that are on the warnings and instructions on the ladder. Ladders are unique. They have the information you need to use it safely on the labeling that's on the product. It's not like an appliance or other tools that have an owner's manual. Ladders have all that information on the labeling. So
it's right there.
Please, if I can't get you to do anything else, please take a moment and read those labels and refresh your recollection of how you want to use that safely. But what are those steps? It's really 4 key steps. So you want to select the proper ladder, you want to inspect it. Once you've chosen that ladder, you want to set it up properly, and you want to use it appropriately. So I'll hit those highlights for each one of those. Selection is really 4 things. Are you going to use a step ladder, or are you going to use an extension, a leanable extension ladder? What material is it made of? Are you working around electricity? If you are, you need to use a non-conductive fiberglass ladder. If electricity is not a concern, a lightweight aluminum ladder can be a great choice. You want to make sure that the height of the ladder is going to allow you to work safely, get to the work you need to do. It's not too tall, it's not too short, and you want to make sure that the capacity of that ladder is going to cover the weight of the user, the climber, plus any materials or equipment that they have to support. Now, when you talk about inspecting it, what are you looking for? Well, you're looking for anything that's loose, damaged, missing. And if you see something, take that out of service, get it repaired before you use it. Proper setup, what you want there is making sure that it's stable. So that means firm, level ground, all 4 feet of a step ladder supported. It's not teetering like that table at the diner where, lean on one side, lean on the other.
Don't stick a pamphlet under it. Don't stick a pamphlet under it to level it. Yeah.
Yeah. No napkins. No napkins
right.
under ladder feet.
Yeah.
And then if it's an extension ladder, we want to make sure that you've got the 75-degree setup angle. If it's too shallow an angle, the ladder's potential for slide out increases tremendously. So you want to make sure you use the proper angle. If you're getting off onto a roof, for example, you need 3 feet, approximately 3 feet of ladder extending above the contact point so that you've got something to hold on to as you get on and get off the ladder at elevation. And now in terms of use, you want to make sure that you're keeping your hands free. You're maintaining 3 points of contact with the ladder. Don't carry a bunch of things up. Keep your awareness on your climbing, on your work, and don't overreach. Those are the real highlights, and those simple habits will make a huge difference in preventing falls. I also recommend taking the American Ladder Institute's free online training, and these are video-based trainings at laddersafetytraining.org. We know that about 100,000 people a year are taking these trainings that are free and readily available. We want to increase that number. We want more people to take advantage of that and use that information to help keep themselves safe.
I love it. I love it. In the last minute or so, the ladders have gotten better over time. What are some of the differences you see with modern ladders now that can help prevent falls?
Well, when you say better over time, I want to be clear. Ladders have been engineered products for over 100 years. So the industry and engineers like myself have put a lot of effort into going back to the 1920s to make sure that the ladders are safe. What's really changed is ladders are lightweight, like everything else, gets lighter. Durable materials that make them both strong and easy to handle and gives you safety built in. There's specialized ladders. I think that's probably the biggest change, is using those specialized ladders. For example, we now have leanable step ladders. Historically, step ladders were not to be leaned. And not all step ladders are able to be leaned, but manufacturers are designing some step ladders with the capability of being used on all 4 feet with the spreaders locked, but you can also fold it up and secure it and lean it for better access for your work. So you can use it leaning and self-supporting. So that utility is really what's increased.
Awesome. Well, Mike Van Bree, we really appreciate all you've done and everything the American Ladder Institute has done. One more time, give us the website.
Laddersafetytraining.org. That's those videos. And another one that has some great material is laddersafetymonth.com. And there's great safety resources there, flyers, videos, webinars, etc.
Nice. Thank you, Mike. Can't wait to have you back. God bless.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys, don't go away. We'll be right back. 1-877-DOC-DALI.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by right now to answer your questions for free. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-710-5100. I'm here with spokesman John Wolf. So, John, tell our listeners who should call right now.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me join you to answer the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, give us a call right now and find out how much your case is potentially worth. Call 800-710-5100.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. If you think you deserve compensation, call now to find out how much you qualify for. 800-710-5100.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems. For example,
diesel fuel cetane levels.
The cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts.
Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
In a study, it was found that 33% of 44 herbal supplements had no trace of the advertised herb. Now, don't let that happen to you. Hi, this is Dr. Mitch. If you want to ensure quality, please go to totalwellness.com. Supplements made for physicians, only now available to you too. totalwellness.com, helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.
We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. 1-877-DOCDALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer, and big thanks to y'all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or X at Dr. Daliah, Facebook, The Dr. Daliah Show, and on YouTube, click like and subscribe. If you ever miss any of our shows, go to drdaliah.com. So I saw the joint session, President Trump's joint session to Congress. It's not necessarily called the State of the Union when it's their opening part of their term, but many presidents, including Ronald Reagan, addressed the joint session or joint session meeting, both Congress, actually everybody, the judicial branch as well as the legislative branch and all the cabinet members. And it was a fantastic speech. I think it was one of the longest ones in history, but it was very, very well done. And what was so fascinating is how the Democrats were just sitting there, grumpy faces, holding up masks. In fact, one had to be removed because by the sergeant at arms because of the disruption. And I knew that would happen. I knew that there would be, an issue. I think it was Democratic Representative Al Green of Texas was heckling, wouldn't sit down. And, it was, and I get that during these, I think America wants to be like the British Parliament where everybody's yelling and go, but when it's the president up there speaking, with Biden got heckled when he wouldn't say Laken Riley's name. And I think it was Marjorie Taylor Greene saying, say her name, when he was talking about how the border was secure. And so heckling happens. But when you're asked to stop, you stop. When you said your piece, you said your piece. And it was almost like they wanted to sit there and just interfere and just, boo Donald Trump out. And so Mike Johnson had to step in and have the sergeant at arms. He first asked politely and then had the sergeant at arms remove Democratic Representative Al Green. I don't want to see anybody removed, but if they're not going to let, order be there and the process continue, it's an issue, especially since the speech was already long as it is. But Trump honored a bunch of individuals, Laken Riley's family, Corey Comparatori family. He honored so many individuals at this event where usually all sides stand and clap. And no, from what I'm understanding, the Democrats even sat there when Trump was honoring a 13-year-old cancer survivor. This actually made me cry. I don't cry very easily. But there was a little boy, DJ Daniels, 13 years old, who had multiple surgeries, seizures, treatments for cancer, a brain tumor. And he is a survivor of that. And his lifelong dream was to become a law enforcement officer. And so he has been made an honorary law enforcement officer. And then as a surprise, Trump said, tonight, DJ, we're going to do you the biggest honor of them all. Trump announced Daniels would become an honorary member of the Secret Service. Now, the room just erupted with cheers, and he actually hugged the gentleman that gave him his ID and his badge, and he hugged him. I'm almost tearing up with this, and no emotion from the Democrats at all. Just, really, you're going to sit in protest? Look, I get you might not like President Trump, but really, very little anemic applause at all. Yeah, and it's embarrassing. Trump honored the families of Laken Riley, the Georgia nursing student who was murdered, and Jocelyn Nungary, the 12-year-old who was also sexually assaulted and murdered by illegal aliens. And, he said that all three members that were charged were part of Tren de Aragua, the notorious Venezuelan gang. And he designated how they are now a terrorist group, which you would think, again, would be a bipartisan, yeah, we agree. No. The Democrats seem to protest that as well. I don't understand that. The president welcomed Lauren Phillips, who was the sister of the late Laken Riley, and then Corey Comparatori, who was shot in Butler, Pennsylvania, when there was the assassination attempt on Trump's life. He honored their family. And from what I'm understanding, no, you didn't really see much from the Democratic side. And I don't understand that, because we really could be united on a lot of things. And then he also honored Peyton McNabb. Peyton McNabb was the volleyball player that got hit by a ball so hard from a transgender, biological male, transgender female player, that she suffered traumatic brain injury and had to leave the sport. He honored her. And what was so ironic is the Democrats were wearing pink in support of women. So it was very confusing. You're there to support women, yet these women who were raped and killed by illegal aliens, these women who were, hurt because there was a transgender individual in sports that was of a much different physical stature. So what were they wearing pink for? I get the anti-Trump fervor on the left is their biggest narrative. It's just anybody, but they just don't like Trump. Although they wouldn't like, and even Trump said, "Look, there's nothing I could say. I could find the best cure for cancer. There could be a debilitating disease wiping out the world. I could find the cure for it, and they're still not going to applaud. They're not going to." And I applauded Biden on helping get the vaccines available and rolled out, but I also criticized him for mandating it and for cutting off federal funding and for firing workers. You're allowed to, in life, be able to say, I like this, I didn't like that. Sadly, there really wasn't much from the Biden administration I liked. I loved in the beginning that he did show support for Israel and said he would help them. In terms of getting the hostages back, I didn't like that he was just absent throughout after that speech and didn't support Israel. So that's ridiculous. And so, if you are in politics, you need to be able to call it like you see it. Now, I don't know if Fetterman was there. John Fetterman is more, look, I'm going to call it, the way I see it. This is good. This is bad. And I like that thinking. You just don't have to sit there and unite. Remember, it was during one of his State of the Unions where everybody looked at Nancy Pelosi, whether they could stand or not. And Nancy Pelosi, because she was sitting behind, because she was the Speaker of the House at the time, she would give direction on when it's okay to stand and clap, when not to. Well, this time around, it was just nobody clapping for anything, and it made them look bad. It made them look sick. Really? You're not going to support a child? And the Republicans would clap during Biden and Obama's speech when people are there to be honored, firefighters, policemen, those people are there to bridge the parties and to honor them at a State of the Union or a joint address to Congress. And that I just don't get it. And if I was a Democratic strategist, because not only am I a doctor and a radio host and an amateur singer, okay, right, which some of you like and some of you don't like. I also my background's in marketing, PR, etc. And so I love giving strategy to both sides. And the Democrats, boy, they need some help. They need some help. And what they're banking on is that there's enough anti-Trumpers out there where during the midterms, they could still appeal to them. And they're not realizing that the people they need to appeal to are the common sense. There's a kid who survived cancer that now gets his dream come true and hugged a Secret Service agent who gave him a badge. Okay, if you don't understand that that's clap-worthy, there's something wrong with you. And something like that, everybody would pretty much agree is a cool thing to do. The preventing women from getting hurt by other individuals who are not their biological equal in terms of muscle mass, height, strength, all the time. That you would think that would be, allowing a woman to have privacy in the bathroom or in the locker room. not allowing young girls to be sexually assaulted. One of the victims was sexually assaulted for 2 hours before she was killed. You all wore pink. Which women then are you supporting? So use some common sense. And it is okay to agree with the Republicans on some things. 1-877 Doc Daliah. Dr. Daliah here. Are you tired, burned out, gaining weight, succumbing to the daily pressures of life? Well, how's your dopamine doing? How you feel right now, how you'll feel an hour from now, and how you'll feel next week is completely reliant on your dopamine. Our daily motivation and willingness to push through challenges depends on the intricate chemical process dopamine provides. Christian Kalikas and I created Deploying Dopamine, a book that tells you what dopamine is, when it dysfunctions, and how to successfully deploy it when needed. Find Deploying Dopamine on Amazon today. Check it out.
Lisa Wolf here to tell you about our newest website for old-time radio lovers. It's 100radioshows.com. At this site, there are 5 old-time radio shows waiting for you to download free as our gift to you. And be sure to browse the additional 700 old-time radio shows available to you for 70% off by using the promo code RADIO at checkout. This is a limited-time offer, so log on to 100radioshows.com. That's 100radioshows.com.
All right, we are back on Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Doc Daliah, 1-877 DOCDALI. So there's a lot of back and forth between the political parties as to who is more pro-woman, who is more pro-child, who is more pro-LGBTQAI+. And doctors who are very concerned about children undergoing transgender transitioning surgery, feel somebody needs to protect these kids. They're vulnerable. Somebody may, unfortunately, without them being able to give informed consent because they're not adults, sway them into doing something that might actually hurt them down the line. Doctors feel that those who are trying to protect those young kids who are at risk of undergoing a surgery or something permanent and fertility ending for them is protecting them. Yet the other side feels, no, us allowing them to go and have this surgery and have this done is protecting them. And so I don't understand why it's so, controversial. I think it's obvious that a child can't give consent, and that having them block a natural growth and convincing them that you could, in an OR, change such complex sexual and gender characteristics is misleading them and is lying to them. And I have been an advocate of get the parents involved. You have a child who's transgender. They need help. They need support. Don't hide it from the parents. Don't try to deal with it yourself as a school. You're trained to teach math and reading and science and education. You are not trained in endocrinology, in transgender transitional medicine, in psychiatry. You might have a board certified psychiatrist involved in the school district, but you as teachers, listen, you guys are brilliant at teaching and educating. Let the parents, let the doctor get involved. And if you do have a child or an adult who is waking up every day thinking they are in a body that's not theirs, it's all hands on deck. If you're really pro LGBTQAI+, you give them support. That has got to be just so conflicting and challenging for them to wake up going, this isn't my body. This is wrong. This isn't who I want to be. Now, in Europe, they've banned in England, in the UK, they are not allowing pediatric transgender transitioning unless they're already in a case study or they're already in the process of it. There were more risks than benefits. And with the adult population, it's still up to the adult's choice. Well, now we have another study coming out of Oxford saying those individuals who did get surgery are at higher risk of depression, higher risk of suicide. And one thing a lot of us in the medical community have said when we have worked with individuals who have transitioned is it didn't solve their mental health woes. We don't necessarily have somebody who is pain-free from a mental standpoint and a physical standpoint. Now, maybe it's because the change in their genitals isn't as natural looking as it could be. Maybe it's because we can't in an OR replicate nature, and we can't make a female look male to the 1,000th precision degree. And so any medical provider that provides false hope saying, oh, absolutely, this is going to make you a woman, this is going to make you a man. Who is protecting the LGBTQAI plus community? Having family members who are LGBTQAI plus patients who are that, people ask me, so are you pro transitioning or against? If that's what somebody wants to do, and as an adult, that's their choice, but you need to give them all the education and you can't give them false hope. And also, you're very anti-LGBTQAI plus if you sterilize them. Okay? We aren't Nazis. We want anybody who wants to procreate to procreate. And there's this big push to end the fertility of these individuals who are transgender by doing the transitioning and doing the surgery. How do you know that somebody might not still want to have a child? When we've had transgender individuals who said, I lost my breast, but I want to breastfeed. We're not going to let somebody who's transgender breastfeed? Why would you remove their breasts? Well, because at the time they didn't want them. Did you explain to them that their condition that they currently are going through might evolve? And we assume that if somebody doesn't want to be a boy or doesn't want to be a girl, it's lifelong. Look, as a kid, I wanted to be a boy. The boys were cool. They got to do the cool stuff. I had to do home ec in school. I didn't want to flip and do home ec. I wanted to do shop. I wanted to be able to pee standing up. And then when I learned I was going to be bleeding every month with a period and I was going to grow boobies so I wouldn't get to run as fast as the boys, I was like, are you flipping kidding me? The average kid can very easily be convinced that the other side has it better. The grass is always greener. Trust me, those individuals on the Titanic, boy, did they wish they were female. One even dressed up as one so he could get on the boat and the rescue boats. But I am so glad I'm a girl. I am so glad I'm a biological female. Love the husband I married. Love the fact that I can have kids. Love the fact that I can breastfeed. Why would you want to deny that to somebody who's LGBTQAI+? Why? Who is protecting that community? So this Oxford study basically looked at 107,586 patients, 83 patients. And they said that bottom and top surgeries are associated with increased risk of mental health issues. And they were at significantly higher risk of depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation, substance use disorders than those who did not do surgery. They said in those who received surgery, our analysis reveals a significantly elevated risk, not mild, significantly elevated risk of mental health disorders, including depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation, and substance use disorder post-surgery among individuals with a prior diagnosis of gender dysphoria. Males and females both had the higher risk. And so, I know Donald Trump had cut funding for this, but I think all sides need to realize what are we doing here? And the idea that, like, for example, let's say I had body dysmorphic or body dysmorphia and body dysmorphic disorder. And so somebody said, well, you know what? You can improve your breasts. Let's make your breasts bigger. Although I don't see how that fit in the OR. But would that really solve the problem? Do we ever tell somebody with body dysmorphic, disorder to start doing plastic surgery if they don't like the way they look? No. We teach them, to love themselves and to realize that what they have are gifts. But when somebody says, I don't want to be a boy, I want to be a girl, fix me, and you validate it going, absolutely, let's do whatever we can surgically, and they aren't a girl when you're done, of course they're going to still struggle. Where's the support? And like I said, I get it. I get it. I think there's a lot of individuals that go through life. Like I said, I thought I was going to be, when I was 3 years old, I started peeing standing up because I thought I was going to be like my dad. And when my sister and my mom said, no, you're a girl, you're going to be like us, I'm like, but I don't want boobies. I don't want my period. I want to be like daddy. I had to learn tough beans. This is who I am. And you know what? Thank God I'm who I am. So when do we teach people to appreciate themselves, to love what they have and work with them? But if you're trying to convince them that they're going to have surgery and they're going to be better, and now they're at risk for higher suicide rates, you're killing them. 1-877-DOC-DALIAH. Don't go away.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by right now. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-910-7500. That's 800-910-7500. Call now to find out how much your case could be worth.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
In a study, it was found that 33% of 44 herbal supplements had no trace of the advertised herb. Don't let that happen to you. Hi, this is Dr. Mitch. If you want to ensure quality, please go to TotalWellness.com. Supplements made for physicians only now available to you too. TotalWellness.com, helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.
Self-reliance. It's not a phrase we hear much in our culture these days. It might conjure up images of pioneers, the West, rifles, strapping men, and strong women. But what does it mean for us in today's world? The New American Magazine has just released its latest collector's edition, Self-Reliance, Foundation of Freedom. In it, the New American authors outline the necessity of self-reliance for a free people, tips for self-reliant living, and the importance of not giving up hope. This unique edition includes articles on the self-sufficiency of the founders, preparing for a worst-case scenario, firearms, financial self-reliance, the importance of community, and many other topics by expert writers. Now, for a limited time, the New American is offering a bundle of 3 collector's editions, Self-Reliance, The Great Reset, and Trump World, for just $19.95. Available at shopjbs.org. Visit shopjbs.org today.
We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-DOC-DALIAH, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So ask and you shall receive. People really, really want these weight loss shots. And what has curbed them being used more than what is already being used and purchased is the high price. Novo Nordisk's Ozempic, or Wegovy, costs about $900 to $1,000 a month. Mounjaro or Zepbound, Eli Lilly's, about $1,500 a month. So the average person doesn't have that money. If their insurance pays for it, very cool. But the average person's insurance doesn't pay for it all. And the company is finding that even with insurance, some people are still willing to pay out of pocket hundreds of dollars. So I have a family member who has diabetes, and with insurance, their Ozempic is still $500 a month. So Novo Nordisk is now going to offer their weight loss drug Wegovy for less than half of its usual price, offering a cash pay option for those who don't have insurance coverage. The pharmacy, NovaCare, is going to allow patients now to pay $499 in cash per month for the drug they take weekly. So now it's looking like $125 a week or $125 a shot. Boy, that's expensive. You're spending about $15, $20 a day, even with the cash discount, to not crave food. Some people would say it's worth it. Just, you realize that after a while it stops working. Listen, I am not anti these drugs. I think these drugs have been fan-flippin-tastic in terms of diabetes control, in terms of helping people curb their weight, curb their cravings. These medications were wonderful in the diabetes industry. For the weight loss industry, I saw part of the Oscars. Boy, you could tell everybody and their mother, not to mention, look at these senators and these people in Congress, and a lot of them look like they're on it as well. There's just a look. When they have rapid weight loss, they have this look. And so it's very, very popular. And it's popular among the rich. But other individuals who are not rich struggle to pay for that. And the average person with diabetes, if they also have to pay for their other diabetic medications, and medication for their blood pressure, medication for their cholesterol or other things, because usually people with diabetes have other issues, they can't afford $500 a month or $1,000 a month. But I have to tell you, good job, Wegovy. And good job, Novo Nordisk, for cutting your price. Thank you. So they're going to offer their weight loss drug Wegovy for less than half of the usual price per month. The cash pay offering is available to millions of people without insurance coverage. They want to allow it to be more accessible. Now, keep in mind, there was a study saying this only costs $5.30 a month to make. So you still have, what, 10,000% markup? Is that? I don't know. I'm sorry. It's been a while since I've been in calculus and all my math. So it's still a huge markup. But for those of you who really, really want it, you might want to talk to your medical provider about now it's becoming a little bit cheaper. So what is it like? What am I seeing with my patients on it? So I work for a telemedicine company where I don't necessarily start them on it, but I take care of people who have diabetes or people calling in for other things, and the primary care side might be prescribing it. And so I am seeing that people are losing weight. I am seeing that people are not craving alcohol. They are not craving sweets when they're sitting there watching. There was a lot of memes yesterday saying, grab your popcorn. This is going to be big. Trump is going to, go at it with the hecklers, and everybody grabs something to eat. You don't feel like grabbing something to eat. You don't feel like you have to have your chips and salsa and guacamole and all that. You can watch something without eating. And that minimizes the amount of calories you're putting in your body. But what I am seeing is a lot of individuals are not exercising as much. They're letting the weight loss drug do most of the work. They're still eating like crap, but they're eating less of the crappy food. Well, yeah, that still messes with your metabolism. I don't necessarily see the average person go from eating junk food to, you know what? I'm going to take this shot and I'm going to now just eat salads and fish. I don't see that. Some do, though. I'm also seeing somebody had called in, they overdosed. That rather than taking the 0.25, they took 1.25. So that was a lot of money. They basically practically used up the whole pen. And they were worried they were going to now get sick. And I had to send them to the urgent care ER to, because they could be at risk for ileus, gastroparesis, where their bowels aren't working. And they could be at risk for nausea, or they could be fine. But I am having people call in with abdominal pain. I'm seeing a lot of severe constipation. And so I'm mixed on it. I think it's great that'll help people lose weight. But the big thing that makes me go, well, think this carefully, is because individuals are telling me that it stops seeming to work. Where that initial, wow, food makes me nauseous, I don't want to eat, you overcome. So now you're eating a cheeseburger and you're not getting that negative feedback like you used to. And some individuals are gaining weight on it. Tracy Morgan said he gained, 40 pounds or 70 pounds, he said, while he was on Ozempic? So that's a concern. And if you are, let's say, getting this deal where you're only spending $500 a month, well, that's still $6,000 a year. So let's say you're spending $6,000 a year versus $12,000 a year. And you might lose weight, but you might not be able to pay for that the following year. Are you going to gain the weight back? Yeah, there's a really good chance you gain the weight back. Now, some people say, Dr. Daliah, I'm investing. If I'm going to be putting that much money, there is no way when I stop it, I'm going to eat junk food. Good. Use this time to teach yourself to not eat junk food. But I'm telling you right now, the average person still gains their weight back. So you need to figure out how to do this. And a lot of people are jumping on it right now because they want to be able to fit into a bikini or they want to look super skinny for their summer photos. Okay, but is that going to still last? I mean, we've had weight loss drug after weight loss drug over the decades, and they all seem to wear off or your body becomes tolerant to it. People were on phentermine, and they would come in asking for more, and I would check the heart, check their blood pressure, and I'm like, but you aren't losing weight. You're actually gaining a little. They're like, yeah, but if you stop it, if you don't give me the drug, it's going to rebound faster. And I'm like, so how long are you going to be buying and staying on something that's not working anymore? Let's slowly wean you off and try to find something else you could do. But you can't take a pill because you're afraid you're going to rebound. And it's not currently working. So talk to your medical provider. Losing weight is paramount in preventing diabetes, heart disease, stroke, heart attack, cancer. We all agree we need to get the weight off. It's just these medications are the closest thing we have to overall safely. There are more people benefiting from than having the risks. But if it wears off, that's not ideal. 1-877-Doc-Dolly.
Did you know that healthy arteries make a gas? Yes, actually 3 known gases. Hi, I'm Dr. Mitch, and nitric oxide is a gas that's readily made all day long to keep our arteries open by relaxing the blood vessel walls. By doing this, our circulation is increased, bringing blood, oxygen, and nutrients to every part of your body. Both age and poor diet can lead to a loss of this precious gas, and in turn, blood pressure can go up, energy can go down, and you can get tingling in your hands and feet. Well, our product, Ultimate Nitric Oxide, can easily help fix this lack of nitric oxide. Go to TotalWellness.com. That's TotalWellness.com, where we are helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.